Hello everyone, I am filming my work setup for the week ahead. Now, I've never filmed something like this before, but I do want to start to expand in this area, as many of you have clearly shown the interest, and so I'm absolutely thrilled, because I too believe there's a gap in this content online. Now, I was sick for quite a bit of last week, and so we're preparing ahead of Monday, because that's just me. Considering the fast-paced nature and the amount of things that are constantly in my head, I wanted to take the time and prepare ahead, so you can see what would normally be my Monday morning system. And it's not perfect, but that's why we're all here, is because we're real, it's real, life is real and unpredictable. So we're going to be talking about what I use to start my week off right, how I try to get organized, the thought process I go through, and some examples. Now, I do have a confidential role, so I can't share too much of the content itself. So I really hope and appreciate that you understand in advance. Some elements may be grayed out after filming to just simply protect what I need to. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a few parts of my work system when I try to get ahead of the week. So I, first and foremost, which was new last year, and I'd like to make this more of a system myself. Now, I bought a ton of note cards, and I put individual thoughts on note cards. And that's simply because when I was keeping a list in these notebooks, I'm finding notebooks are good for a certain thing, but it's not good for my day-to-day. I'm less likely to go back and reflect and remember the things to do when I have it this way. I'm also dyslexic, which has many, many benefits actually, but it is also took some time to understand how I think and what I need to be successful and to not be forgetful. And so what I like about the note cards is I can reorder them, right? I can put them in priority order front to back. I can put them into sections, right? It looks like I'm dealing cards, but I can say urgent, nice to have, or delegate. And it can be a way of tracking the to-dos, but also if there's a note I want to make permanent. And again, some things I'll put in my OneNote, but some things I put in this. So it's this good old-fashioned lockbox that just came on Amazon, and I bought some little dividers and note cards in here. And what it is showing, lovely that it's stuck, is I just took a stamp set and made them look a little nicer and more authentic. It was just a creative outlet. I marked them just A through Z, and then as I have a note that I want to retain permanently, I file it away. So if you've had a lot of birthdays like myself, you may want to call this like the work Rolodex. But it's just part of my system that I'm starting to use that so far has been helpful, and it looks kind of fun on my desk. And so it's not necessarily an everyday thing, but I do use that quite a bit, and I don't know anybody else that does that. So I wanted to share because it is certainly unique, especially in this technological world that we live in. And my job is also tech based, so it may seem unique, and I hope it is because it works for me. So I have that. I have my general notes that I'll go through in my to-dos. And so at the start of the day, at the end of the day, I'll add to this daily, I'll take away from it daily, I'll sort it and categorize it. I just have a simple cover here because of the, again, just simply the content and the sensitivity. I want to be respectful. So that's one. So I'll sort that. Also, I share, and I'm thinking, I'm really interested in making my own system and putting that on Etsy. And the Etsy shop hasn't been able to be my priority focus with grad school and work full time, overtime sometimes. I was preparing for a bodybuilding competition in 2024. So plus I didn't feel drawn to know exactly what I wanted to put on my storefront, but now I do. So I'm looking forward to taking the system I'm using and piecing together and making one holistically that I can really use myself, and if it works for you, you can also use. So I have my grid for brain dump, I have my note cards, I have my regular brain dump that if something comes to mind that is not work related, I will put it in here. And so this, if I can help it, is always open on my desk. And if something pops into my mind, I quick pivot and write it down and just turn back and I have it. So that is there. So I have my grid, my notes that I flip through. This is currently, until I make my own system, this is the layout I'm using. It's nice and big because until I streamline my system, sometimes there's a lot of writing. And I'll go through the note cards, the brain dump, I'll flip through old notes, and I'll then build what I want to make sure I get done Monday morning and how Monday runs, what I need to do for the day, the next day, the week ahead, whatnot. It all gets transposed to this. So I let it be messy and then I try to organize it here. I also, what is standing up on my desk is this that I made on Canva. I'll take the cover off. I have this cover so I can have a dry erase marker that when I was really trying to get back into the swing of a new routine for my new role, I just laminated nothing and added a cover so that I could do this and check it off, and then I just wipe it clean at the end of every day or every week, depending on what's happening that week. So I'll just take that off for the sake of the glare. And I sat down to say, okay, I just need the guidance. The morning, review and complete unchecked to do. So that's what I said, like this note card, these books, right? There's some carryover from 2025, 2026. So I flag emails to take action. What can I respond to within 5 minutes? Do it. I make a top 3 priority list. I do that. Review meeting notes and summarize the day. At the end of the day, check my to-do list, see what I can, flagged inbox 0. This is rarely ever a thing, but I did get to set up some email filters that really helped me a lot. Log progress of the plan, use my voice, ask questions, ask for deliverable feedback, weekly closeout, update the strategy document, update year-end template, and review a new article or HR video or just content. And then just some happy reminders. Anything worth having requires hard work. Be positive, be an example, and get noticed. And I read a Forbes article where if they don't see you, they don't promote you, or they don't hire you, is something like that. I'll have to rethink research the what's happening to the camera there. I'll have to research what it is and attach it. So let me just what's on top of my mind. I have a top 3. I have a lot of to-dos. I have a lot of deliverables due. Need to prep for a meeting first thing for Monday. Make sure everything's covered. A couple questions to cover by the end of the week, or day, even better. Couple meetings to set, but I can do that end of day. And went through my to-dos and I prioritized. I rescattered them, and highest, second, third, fourth. So I have my to-dos to go through. I have what I need to do right away, straight away Monday morning. And I will come back and talk about streamlining this possibly. This was kind of just like my thinking process for the week ahead, the day, but I will come back maybe closer to the day and walk you through a more cleaned up checklist once I can put some more thought behind this. But I wanted you to see how detailed and how many reference points I have. If you have a similar experience with your job, your role, I would love to hear what you do to prep for the first day of the week ahead. And it seems like, sometimes you put notes in 4 different places, so you just do need the time to come back together and get everything sorted and put it in one place and start going forward. But I will pause here and come back and circle up very soon. Ciao. Good morning, everyone. Monday has now come and gone, and it is early Tuesday morning. So I thought I would pop in and talk a little bit about wrapping up yesterday and starting today. I ended up working up to 7 p.m. and just cut that off because if I stay up much longer than that or stay focused on work, I will never get to fall asleep. My brain won't shut off. But first, welcome if you are new here. On this planner channel, we're starting to dive deeper into work planning systems when you have a demanding corporate role. Now, that being said, whatever we review can be used as a system for life in general, whatever keeps you going from morning till night. So, but this is simply what I use currently as I build out my own system, because I'll also point out where there are some gaps that I don't think all of this really meets my need in a concise way. However, so what we'll do, so yesterday wrapped up, and sometimes depending on the pace, when I'm going through the day, I'll cross off what has been written and planned for the day. And sometimes I'll make notes on a call quickly because it's right in front of me. If something pops up and I hear and I don't have a separate notebook ready to go, just again, depending on how fast the day is moving. So I cross some things off. And now what I do next is when I plan for Tuesday, some items I will say, okay, I'm crossing out this way. So this means like move, right? And cross out equals finished. A box means like do, not a D-O, D-U-E, like deliverable. If there's an exclamation, urgent, to do. And so what I'm going to do this morning is take a look back at how I wrapped up yesterday and plan today based on also what was covered in my brain dump, what was covered in my notes, my note cards. And so it's a similar setup to how I was preparing for Monday. But now we're in the swing of things. I have a better sense of what is prioritized, what should come next, a direction to go after my Monday meetings, because Monday is structured in a way whenever possible, wherever I can, to get it so that the time is dedicated to setting up for the week and preparing ahead. If there's something due, like I put deliverables are due this week by this day. So I want to make sure I have the time to work on that and or clarify a direction so that if I'm delivering something by Thursday, I've already clarified exactly what is desired. So I'm not spinning my wheels or redoing the work. And as maybe simple as that sounds, that actually took quite a bit to practice. because I tended for a while to simply um, walk away saying, yeah, I totally get that. I get it. Makes sense. Great. And I deliver something. And a former manager would say this completely missed the mark. And I was dumbfounded. And it took time to really ask questions for clarification, because then on the flip side, again, this is in my past, but if I ask clarifying questions, the attitude I got back was just soul crushing at times. So thankfully, I don't have that now, and it's a very welcoming and conducive environment to learning and growing and clarifying. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through Tuesday and circle back with y'all before we get into the workday. So stay tuned and I'll chat soon. All right, all. So I went through my thinking process for today. I went back through my notes that I have that are action items to do. I've reordered them based on today and new priorities. I believe I can get through a few of these and knock them out. I went through my brain dump. That was a carryover from yesterday. I put my former brain dump page here. I tend to save them until I feel comfortable like either archiving them or getting rid of them. Sometimes I simply just get rid of it if it will clutter my brain since I've transferred most of the information. So archive that, transferred anything that was open, thought through more that came up as I was transferring it, as I was looking over my meeting schedule, things I had to do today. And then between the notes and my brain dump, I went through and wrote down the top things I want to get to immediately. So I'm about to start the day. I'm going to go through the top items and then revisit as I have breaks and keep writing in my to-dos. My notes might contain something where I'll have to transfer it and add it to my file system or whatnot. This can be a myriad of different things. But all that to say, now planned out my Tuesday. I also marked out, so this book is full because it was in 2025. If I completed everything on the page, I folded over. So if there's still something outstanding, it's not folded over. If there's something after reviewing it in the morning I need to do today, I'll just flag it. And sometimes it'll repeat itself on the top 3 or the brain dump. But I like to do this first and then go back through these because these tend to be things that I, like my meeting notes. As I'm going, I use a single page per meeting or per element. I rarely use the back side of pages. It's just the way my brain functions. So this is filled up from 2025. I have a couple things marked. This is still in progress from 2026. I have a few things marked as well. So I will go through these, double check my to-dos, go through what's flagged, and then what I'll do, so these are my first steps. Do these, and then I'll come back to my brain dump, and as I'm crossing things out, add it back onto the page. So after today, I will come back and hopefully share an update that has a ton of progress being made. Again, it's only Tuesday, but Tuesdays tend to be really packed and crazy. Good crazy, just really busy. So anywho, have a wonderful day ahead, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Good morning, everyone. It is very early on a Friday. So this week, I've started to film my morning planning setup for the beginning of my work days. So many of you have started to comment more on agreeing that you would like to see more corporate work planning type videos. I do believe it's needed. There are us paper planners in the corporate community, and it's tough to find what we need in systems that are out there. So I am still working on creating my own so that this system, while it has a lot of components, I can work towards a direction that is comprehensive for what I need, but I want to design it based on how I use it, and then I can post it and share it with you all. So if you are new, welcome. I have been filming planner videos since 2021. Hard to believe. And there was quite a bit of time while I paused to go to graduate school, and huge milestone, and did a lot of really cool things in a couple of years, but I did miss out on keeping my routine of my planner videos going, which I was bummed about, but you know, there's trade-offs. So, but thanks for coming back if you're tuning in for some corporate planning. Now, I intend to do a series on corporate planning, and I figured I would start with what do I do in my mornings, because the last, for example, Wednesday and Thursday, I didn't film because they were nearly 12-hour days, and there's still things before it, after getting ready and jotting things down. I couldn't post it on YouTube, and then, you know, so I'm coming back here and I'll connect on the last couple of days, and then we'll get into planning for the week and talk about what I did to set it up, see if I can talk through some as I do it. This is just super real time for everyone, so I am doing it as I go. I don't have a pre-scripted way to do these morning videos. It is new, it's authentic. I want you to see the struggle, see where where I'm going back and forth. What are the sticky points? How do I get pushed through something? And I hope you enjoy it. Again, I'm going to also do my best to put timestamps so that you can jump ahead. If you've made it this far, you have probably jumped ahead. So I do appreciate that. But we'll go ahead and simply get started. So if you are also a corporate girly like myself, I would truly appreciate a like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. That way we can help make a greater impact and inspire others to help them live very productive work lives and a work-life balance. So we're going ahead and get going. So I did start with the 2 notebooks at the beginning of this week. I did finish everything in this one. So the pages are folded where as things were getting completed. These couple tabs are simply just a reference. I'll need to reference that probably over the next couple of months, but I don't need to continuously flip through this anymore. I got through those this week, which is great. The little stragglers from 2025. Still used this system, this book, and it's simply because I don't have a different system yet. I have a lot of these. They were inexpensive. And what I've been doing, I've been using just one page per meeting. And I put little boxes to show there's something I need to do, or a deliverable, or it's, a reminder, or it's, rescheduled or canceled, or don't even worry about it. Like just some type of scratch that I understand. But I do also want to create some type of a reference task card that will help me build that habit until it is all second nature. So I have this, which I will use, and this is mainly, since I use this during meetings, I reference this back to add in what I need to do in a day. I also, if I still have things not crossed off from my morning brain dumps, I will leave this out to write things down. I also, these note cards have been slimmed out. I put big tasks that if I need to get something done that day as a reminder, I'll simply put it on my desk and it's there. Once I check it off, I can throw it away. And I don't use these for everything. I'd be going through 100 card deck probably a week. No exaggeration. So it's sparing for really big things I don't want to forget. Now, I was up at 3:30 in the morning today. I was up at 3:30 in the morning yesterday. It was a big week. We had performance reviews. We're, the norming stages of new development, new expectations in the new year. And if I have a lot on my mind, I don't sleep well. You probably hear it in my voice from talking a lot, from being tired. But it's exciting and there's opportunities. And so that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. So I have these cards I'll go through, often very high priorities, possibly usually longer term, or it's rather than repeating it every single day, I write a bigger initiative on a note card and I'll just leave it out. And if it's relevant that day or that week, I'll keep a couple of them out. But as they're completed, I get rid of the cards. But that way, in my mind, having a system like this prevents me from having to rewrite it. So I have those note cards. I have, so these are initiative cards. We'll call them that, initiative cards. We have meeting notes. We have morning brain dump. we have the to-do lists from the day before that I go through this system every day to generate my to-do lists and reminders. And so I have some things Wednesday. I had to preemptively block some of these details to film, which is why I haven't really been super sherry about my work elements, because a lot of it is confidential. So what I'm going to do today for Friday, the end of the week, is like a weekly closeout. And I want to, again, what I'm going to do this morning, and it'll be on a fast forward because it'll probably take a while, but go through again to refresh. What did I want to do Wednesday and Thursday that maybe are not finished yet? What did I write down on those days that maybe need to become an initiative card that I can continue to flip through? My meeting notes, my brain dump, and a new brain dump page that, depending on how I'm feeling, if I'm anxious that I want to get outstanding items documented so I know like I'm good to go, or am I more creative that morning and I just want to free think and generate as much as I can on my own before going back through the notes and then writing everything. So we're going to see what I feel like today. And Fridays will be interesting because it is a little bit different of a closeout for the week, because while we're all so tired by the end of Friday that it, like, future self will thank us come Monday when we feel more prepared. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the explanation now, and then I will start to record my setup and come back through and talk you through what I have, or what ended up working for today being the last day of the week. It's a day before a 3-day weekend. So next week is a short week, so I need to consider that. And some big things coming up on the horizon. So need to be mindful that I'm carving out time every single day to work towards that. What I didn't mention that I don't show is my my work phone. So what I will do is I will open up my calendar. I'll open up my calendar in Teams and go through that schedule, and make sure that's how I find I have deliverables where I have deliverables I want to remember. It's also coming out of meeting schedules. So you can see how if one does not have like a routine, or take the time in the morning or afternoon, whatever suits your fancy, but taking the time to make a routine and learn what works for you and grow through that to make sure that you're efficient, staying on top of things is really important. And so let's see, if I count, it's initiatives, free thinking, meeting notes, former brain dumps, daily action items, and my work calendar. So that's 6 reference points to plan a day. And that's why it takes quite a bit of time in the morning. But I hope you do stick around for the recap and what this Friday day of planning, morning of planning looks like for the last day of the week, preparing for next week. And I'm excited to share it with you. So thank you for letting me know this does not bore you. You want to see more. Please continue to share your ideas. I love hearing what you would like to see and what would help you. It helps me be creative. It helps me be more productive. I get to it gets to my former teacher bones in my body, and I simply love it. So thanks for joining me again, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye-bye. ish for the morning. I am so sleepy. 3:30 is very early. So what I did, as you may have watched, but my top 3 that I'm going to do ASAP once I close the video, and then what I want to get done by end of day, either finished, posted, sent, or started by the end of the day. And then it's just like a little mini thinking section for me, like general notes. Where could I create a running list of monthly topics? How should I format a contact list in OneDrive? Where could I put a guest speaker list, like tracker, who I asked, who I didn't? And it could be that all of these are like one Excel sheet and different tabs in my OneDrive, which will probably be what will end up happening. So everything's in one place, as close to one place as possible. I looked at today's meetings, wrote down a few reminders. When I use today's schedule, like I don't find a point in writing what the meeting is all the time. I don't even always use this section. Like you can see, I didn't use it on Tuesday. But this to highlight that the first meeting is optional. I have 3 or 4-ish deliverables due at the start of meetings, and I highlight where I can have discussions. So it's great that from like 1:30 to 3:30 today is basically discussion based, and the most of the prep is finished by the morning. And that's ideally how I like to structure my day. My brain is sharpest in the morning, so I try to put those types of meetings in the morning. I need to create a one-on-one tracker to keep notes. And then as I was doing this, I realized I explained some of my the legend images. So I wrote them down and I just left them here for you to read if it inspires you. The boxes, I have a deliverable or an action to take, don't forget, or follow up. Maybe it's just an email, a note, bring it up on the call that day. Cross it out, I finished it. I diagonal cross it out, I transferred it. I scribbled it out. It became a note card, an initiative card. And the scribble out means don't worry about coming back to this. You have it here, which is a little different than a rewrite, because a rewrite, you're constantly going back to the same day and revising and carrying over. So rather than writing everything every day, cards I found are working pretty well. Maybe they won't always, but for now they're good. Just a general note, star means like organize some elements, what will help prep for the meeting, so to think ahead for those. The circle, now that's mostly for, the circles are in these notebooks. So I mentioned these are what I use currently for meeting notes, because there are meetings all day long and I take notes in every single one, and I use one page for each meeting. I don't like using double-sided pages. I don't know what it is. My brain just has a hard time with it. So sometimes I use double sides for if like elements on the left are related to the meeting notes on the right, but I often don't, because I'll cross contaminate like what's due. I don't know why. But the reminders, so through meeting notes, if I want to remember something that like have it become rote, so it's fact and second nature for me, I circle it so that when I go back and flip through to find the to-dos or to do the reminders and to do plan for the day, I'll also simply reread what's circled and like ingrain it so it becomes just new data, right? Send it to long-term memory rather than letting it drift off in short-term memory. Then the tentative, nice to have, nice to attend. And then the star would be like just due at the time of, which is a little redundant, and it shows like organized elements that will help and due at the time. And I can see those being the same. So really, I can just erase one and clarify what those stars mean. And I said, so on a Friday, most days, all days, I plan for that day. It's most often on a Friday or the last day of the work week of that week, whether it's PTO or a holiday, what have you. I will get ahead or go ahead and write down a couple of elements that I want to really make sure get done the next day. And I wrote it on Monday, but it's Martin Luther King Day, so I need to skip Monday and write it on Tuesday, so I don't forget that. But realize that as I was doing it. But again, I was up at 3:30, so little grace. So I have my action items to do. There's a lot in here, so I'm confident that I copied what I need immediately or today on this page. And as time permits, like if I have a break, maybe I'll flip through this again and see if I'll either review the notes or something will come to me and I then get inspired and write it down. But to-do list, so the day plan, my constant running book of meeting notes, and that way this is easier to take to the office with me than everything. And then these are my initiative notes where I can pick and choose which ones get taken out and set on the desk as like a reminder, work on bit by bit today. And I want to show you this thing. My husband actually got this for me, but it is a timer on Amazon that I'm still learning to use. But it is fascinating because it is gravity based, and he got one for himself, and I thought that was pretty snazzy because I can lose track of time quite a bit. But so if I set the, depending on how I rotate, which of course, why is it not really? Okay, so there we go. So whatever is facing up, it's hard to show because it's gravitational based, it'll count down. And if I like decide to change it to 50 minutes or 5 minutes, it can rotate gravitationally, which is interesting. So I can set the timer and make sure that if I'm going to be heads down in something, that I get to make sure I have something visible, because sometimes the phone does not always, you can't look up and easily see a countdown. You could, but I don't know, it's just my brain. It's the way it works best. So I thought this was a handy little thing. It's not necessarily the best advertisement for it at the moment, because maybe it's because it's not on a hard surface, but or it needs to be charged. But it does, as you flip it, it's gravitational. It was working perfectly fine earlier this week, so I'll play with that a little later. But even though it looks like it might not be helpful, it's great. Oh, there we go. I don't know what I did. 50 minutes, so you can see 49. 5 minutes, there you go. So now it counts down 5. 25 minutes, counts down 25. So you can see how whatever you have up at the top, it'll count down. So I think that's really neat. So you can set it initially for 5 minutes. You're on a roll, switch it to 20, an additional 25, or start at 50, and then you realize something happens, you only have 10. I really like it. So I hope that maybe helps you in your planning, and consider it. I'll see if I can link it below. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and get started into the day, and I really look forward to your thoughts and your comments. If you've stuck around this long, thank you so much. If you'd like to see more content related to corporate prep, corporate life, how I stay ahead and on top of things in a very rapid, fast-paced environment with a lot of responsibilities. Happy to do more of those. I would just simply love to know, where do you struggle in planning for your corporate job or your job in general? Or maybe it's your first job and you're unsure of how to even start. Whatever that is, I'd love to know so I can, it'll inspire me to come up with content and help you, and guaranteed it'll help myself as well. So until next time, all, thanks for joining. I hope this was insightful, and don't forget to like and share if you feel like others would benefit. I would be super grateful, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead, and don't forget that you matter. Bye.